Hello and welcome to the Dancing Bunny blog. In case you don't know me, you can just call me Fluffy Pro. I do a show called the Space Alien Hula Bunny Chronicles on YouTube, and I'm also a partner with the Channel Federator Network. And I decided to have this idea for like a little review show where I just show like a loop of animation while I review things or blog about things. Anyways, let's get on to the review. Now, before going into this movie, I was really dreading it a lot because the last Michael Bay movie I saw was Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen, and that literally made me physically ill. I had a splitting headache, I was dizzy, I just couldn't handle the stuff that Michael Bay did, all those really random, stupid jokes, like with the humping robots and the crazy, slutty robot Decepticon girl. That that really happened. I feel like I dreamed that. But anyways, yeah, all that crap just it literally made me physically ill. With combinations of the sound effects and then even the still shots had to have a camera spinning somewhere. So I was really dreading this movie, and I know that Michael Bay didn't direct it, but even you can still see his like little fingerprints and stuff in the trailers, so I was still worried that they would put gimmicks in it like that as well. So, the question you're probably asking is why in the world did I end up seeing this movie if I dreaded it so much? Well, I'm really a big fan of the Turtles. I liked the cartoon since I was a kid. I was practically born right when they came out, around like 86 or so. And also, I was going to see Guardians of Galaxy with a friend, but unfortunately, he was called into work, and I kind of go see my Marvel movies and stuff with him, so I thought I'd just be nice and just see a different movie for now. And I thought I'd give Ninja Turtles a chance just because I was curious, would at least be decent. Now, first thing, a lot of the things that really were the stuff that like made me sick, like in Transformers 2, weren't really in this movie. There wasn't as much spinning cameras, so luckily Michael Bay's influence on that wasn't as much in this movie. I mean, you can still see some action stuff in that, but there's not as many like really stupid instant characters. They do put all the comic relief in the Turtles, which works best for a Turtles movie, in my opinion. So that's good. So let's get on to the characters. First off, we'll talk about April and Vern, since they're kind of there at the beginning of the movie. Now, Vern, he seems a lot more like one-dimensional in this movie. He's basically just the guy that follows around with April. He's definitely not as loud or as interesting of a character as he was in the cartoons. Thought they could have added a little bit more of his personality in the movie, but that's just a little small critique. And as for April, I didn't think Megan Fox was that bad. I don't think she's as horrible of an actress. There's much worse actresses that they could pick than her. And for what they gave her, she did a good job. Now, for Splinter, the first thing that's kind of spoilerish that I'd like to point out is that they don't really have the Hamato-yoshi Orokosaki story in here. It's kind of weird without those characters because it makes a lot more sense with Splinter's drive to be like, oh, we have to stop Shredder and stuff because he actually has a personal vendetta against Shredder, but in here there's not really much even a reason for him to know about Shredder. And as for his design, he's kind of homely looking, but then again, Splinter most most of his movie designs are always kind of homely looking. So I can't really complain too much there, but voice acting worked well enough for me. I forgot to check to make sure about the credits. I heard that it might have been Tony Shalhoub. I'm pretty sure it sounded a heck of a lot like Tony Shalhoub. But anyways, even if it wasn't Tony Shalhoub, the actor did a good job, and I probably should have researched that before pointing it out on a video review, but oh well. I'll talk about Shredder. Now, Shredder really doesn't do too much in this movie, like a lot of people mostly say. Mostly talks to like William Fichtner and stuff, and he's like just like the giant villain at the end. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to sort of go, or they wanted to go with this origin, the IDW route of the IDW comics, where the turtles were actually reincarnations of the sons of Hamato Yoshi from like ancient Japan, and they were murdered by Oroko Saki like a long time ago, like in ancient Japan. I'm kind of wondering if maybe they decided not to do that because it was too much, but then again, I really don't think it would be that much added with all the other crazy stuff they have with like talking turtles. I don't think it's that much sillier to make them reincarnated turtles. But anyways, now get on to the turtles themselves. I have to say, I understand the designs. They wanted to make them stand out in their own unique personalities, but at the same time, they do look kind of cluttered, and it does make it a little harder to tell which turtle is which in action scenes. Because it is a little harder to see their colored bandanas and stuff when they have all this clutter and stuff on them. So in some ways, I think it makes it harder to tell them apart than the simpler designs. Even though, yeah, the simpler designs got so mixed up by animators that they would color the wrong turtle all the time. Don't look too bad far away, but in like close-ups, it does look kind of weird. It kind of reaches this thing that I like to call the uncannibal and valley. Yeah, the uncannibal valley, like the uncanny valley, except for like it's that like anamorphic creatures have so much human features that it just looks really, really creepy. And that's a word I made up. The overall story isn't necessarily bad. I mean, it kind of channels the original Ninja Turtle movie. I mean, first April runs around going, "There's something going on," and then like her boss and coworkers are like, "There's nothing going on." But they do this for a much longer period of time than they did in the original movie. And it does take a little bit longer to get to Turtle's actual origins. But yet it is like the first third of the movie is there's something going on. And then the turtles come and they're like, "You shouldn't know what's going on." And then April's still running around going, "There's something going on." And now I just spoiled a lot of the movie. I do wish that there was more martial arts when the turtles actually fought like the foot soldiers and stuff. Most of the like martial arts fighting is done against Shredder because the foot soldiers don't do any ninja stuff. I thought maybe at least one of them would like whip out a sword. That sounded dirty. But anyways, yeah, I was hoping maybe one would be like, "Oh, I have a sword too," and then they would fight. That sounds kind of cheesy the way I said it, but it would have been awesome if a bunch of the foot had swords and guns. And the cartoon had both. But yeah, I could be wrong because I have bad memory, but I think that there was only two. I think there was two scenes where the turtles were doing stuff, but you didn't really see what they were doing. You mostly just saw April trying to figure out what was going on, and you just heard clink, clink, click, 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 click. Oh, let's go, turtles! We must go turtle out. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they had a little less Ninja Turtle animated scenes to try to save a little bit of money. I think that's why there are a lot more scenes of like April interacting with other human characters. I'm not sure if I should make a theory like that or people build it up as a conspiracy, but I have a feeling that that's part of it because there were some scenes where you just see the turtles swinging weapons, so you wouldn't actually see a turtle, you just see like a weapon and stuff. Anyways, I feel like I kind of went on a tangent because I'm kind of new at reviewing things, and I probably should give myself a script for this. But yeah, back to the story. It is very reminiscent of the first movie. I mean, it has April trying to figure out what turtles are. She meets up with the turtles. They tell her the origin, and then stuff happens like some of the turtles get captured, and then there's a big fight with Shredder at the end. This one is much more save the worldy. Like I said before, there's not really as much of a personal grudge against like Shredder and Splinter and the Turtles. Shredder's mostly like partners with William Fichtner. I think he's like Fichtner's mentor in destroying the world, I guess. And he's just like, I have to destroy the world or something. But he doesn't, because Turtles save the day. Overall, to conclude things, my favorite parts of the movie is probably the voice acting. A lot of the voice actors are really talented. They're very reminiscent of the first movie. And I it's probably ridiculous of me to say this, but I do like at least Shredder's design and the fight scenes of Shredder. It kind of feels like my wanting of an actual Super Shredder fight in Ninja Turtles 2 was kind of fulfilled. Since in Ninja Turtles 2, he just kind of like moves his arms around and gets a dot collapsed on him and then he's dead. But yeah, I am glad about that we finally got to see a Super Shredder. And then for the bad, yeah, the designs I'm not crazy about. I already heard about the designs ahead of time, so there wasn't really too much new things I was introduced to that I didn't like. I guess if there is something that I didn't know about ahead of time, I guess maybe Karai. I mean, as a fan of the Turtles, I know a lot of I she wasn't really as big of a thing. She wasn't really in like the cartoons or the movies that I grew up with, but I know of reading the comics and stuff, she's a much more gray area character, and in this one she is kind of just like the right hand femme fatale sort of character. And that's the main thing that I didn't know about ahead of time that I might not be crazy about, but overall, it's not as much of a nightmare as I thought it'd be, since I am not really much of a fan of Michael Bay. And you should remember that even though his name is attached to this, the actual director seems to care about the turtles, and you can actually tell that he is interested in this subject. So I should give Jonathan Liebsman credit if I pronounced his name right. I should mention one thing that I forgot to mention I like about this movie, and maybe I'll just end with this. So, end with the very beginning and the very end. So, the movie opens with this really cool little like comic booky animation. And that did give me it got me psyched for the movie and excited for it, and it made it actually seem like there was actually some sort of hope. And it was nice to see an animated introduction nowadays, because mostly they just go, flash title, movie begins. And it was nice to see something that actually got you into the world again, and I haven't seen something like that for years, so I'm really glad that they did that. Now, for the very last scene. Now, there's only one thing that's close to a stinger scene in this movie. I thought I didn't think there was gonna be any stinger scene, so I left early. I did get a glance of what was the stinger scene from what I saw on the internet and stuff I read. That this was the big stinger scene, but it's the. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it, cause yeah, it is really that stupid. But overall, it's kind of one of those stupid moments that's like the things I don't like about Transformers 2. So that's why I won't even mention it, because it's reminiscent of the stupid like humping robots and evil Decepticon sorority girl that I'm not even sure if I dreamed about. So anyways, should you see this movie? Well, honestly, I think it's up to you. It won't be awful. Maybe. I mean, some people might think it's worse than I do. I don't know, because I do sometimes like movies that other people like despise. But I'll say it's not amazing, but it's not the end of the world. It's a pretty solid Ninja Turtles movie made for the audience of today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to watch a past episode, please check out the playlist.